Easy.
Yeah, wasn't it fun?
Oh, man.
Yeah, we had a blast.
I mean, you know, there was episodes where you had like spotty dialogue and it was just all movement.
Yeah.
That's some challenging stuff.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate that. It is a challenge. It's a lot of fun though too, and that's kind of where I come from is athletics. So it's I grew up playing rugby, football, and hockey. And, I like engaging physically. As far as the producers will let me. Yeah.
That was pretty great.
Thank you. It was a kind of dream gig. Yeah. Don't have to learn lines. Spew some black stuff.
I know you probably can't say much, but is there anything you can tease about what's coming up?
About season 2?
Yeah, about season 2.
It's not in the Arctic.
Yes, we got that.
We got that. Nobody will tell us where.
Okay. But frankly, I don't know very much, and that's kind of been the protocol for us. And it's one of the kind of exciting things about working on Helix is having very little lead time, and kind of each script we read is a new surprise, and like what the and I don't know if I'm going to survive each read. Yeah, so I think that's going to be moving into season 2 again. They're going to give us information as we need it. They're also, what is really kind of beautiful about Steve Maida and the writer's room down in LA is, I guess it's up in LA where it's San Diego, is they leave a lot of room. You know what I mean? They have their storylines solid, and they know where they're going with everything, but they've left us a lot of room for our performances and our interpretations to kind of inform the stories moving forward, which is a really nice dynamic of feels a little collaborative. But they are the masters. So,
is there anything you would wish for your character to do? Since you don't know, you can speculate or wish.
I really hope to see kind of more what his end game is. Because when we ended season 1. A lot of people have asked me, is Peter the villain? Is he the new bad guy? I'm like, I really feel him as conflicted, rather than kind of villain. And we left his motivations pretty open-ended at the end of the season. We don't know why the betrayal, and I don't know if he's not playing a longer game. So I kind of hope it's a longer game, but it'd be really cool if it's a straight-up betrayal too. So either way, I win.
Right.
Now his physicality that you had when you were, the initial part of the season, was that something collaborative, or did you kind of draw on your
just kind of making it up as I went along. They just gave me a lot of license to go with it, and that was, I think, one of the kind of most challenging things for me was in my process. We often kind of know what it feels like when the point is coming across as an actor. You've done it enough times that you know what it feels like, so you can trust it. I had kind of no point of reference for this because it's not something I've done. What does a vector look like? So I think for me what was really important was just to really focus on just being free to kind of let what happens. But what I was focusing on mostly was keeping the humanity of the man underneath this monster, this kind of sick monster, and then it's kind of super vector guy. Really kind of keeping my thumb on the humanity of the guy, thinking about the love he has for his brother, the love he has for Walker. Those were the things that I had to keep going underneath, to just not kind of be a Neanderthal.
Yeah, no, I saw that.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad it came through. I was happy with it.
Yeah, that was really cool stuff.
What was it that attracted you to your role?
They offered me it. That was very attractive that they wanted me. No, but it was, he's a really conflicted guy. I find that if a character is saying exactly what he means, it's boring. Do you know what I mean? And in the writing, if the scene's about what the scene's about, it's death, right? And in the first, I had only read the first episode when I had auditioned for it, but it really, there was like, you know what, it's just, there's so much subtext going on. You never know what one character's motivation is, so you never know what the scene's actually about. And that really excites me. And that played out throughout the whole season. I like not trusting the characters' motivations. I like not knowing where it's going to go.
Do you have any highlights or favorite moments from the first season?
I love that shower scene.
Yeah.
It's, Kira, I mean, Kira's amazing. We knew each other before going into this. My wife and her husband are old friends. So Kira and I had met a couple of times over the past few years. So we knew each other. And she's just such she's so present. She's very strong woman, and I mean that in every, like, physically she's very strong. She's very centered. She has a real ground as to who she is and what she wants and her process. That we could just trust each other implicitly in that scene, because it had to be. And we spoke to each other before. And it's like, we have to play we have to play our whole history. All the love has to be played in that moment of silence between us, or else there's no way she'd let me in. You know, so that's what we were focusing on in that moment, was just all the love and all the history that we have together to make it possible that she'd let me in for a second before. So it was really fun to play with that. And just how strong Kira is in that situation where I'm, just the physical aspect of it and emotionally. It gave me the freedom to not worry about her, to just let loose and let happen what's going to happen, and it'll all be okay. And so that's a testament to her. She's in the vulnerable position in that scene. So she gave me a lot of freedom to go wherever, just by being who she is. So, big props to her for that.
Yeah.
You mentioned the humanity. I think the scenes too that were also my favorite. Initially, when Alan first makes contact with her bed, and that's where you see the important being in that room.
Yeah.
If we don't have that, to show that they're brothers and there's some affection, then whatever else you do kind of loses a little bit of air.
Yeah.
It was important to do.
It was really important, yeah. I love those scenes. We really dropped into the older brother, younger brother kind of dynamic right away, which is great, during the takes. When you're strapped to a gurney and, he's hovering over you being an older brother. Good times.
There's a lot of room for that to go further now, too.
Oh, yeah. And that's true with all the characters. And that's one of the really exciting things. Somebody had asked me in one of the interviews, were you excited about getting a second season? I'm like, obviously. But what really excites me is sort of as an audience member. Because I watch the show and I like to live tweet it, but then after I'm only live tweeting during commercials because I'm drawn into it, And I was really excited to get a second season because we get to see where these people go. That would have been a heartbreak for me. There'll always be other work, we're like cockroaches, we find ways to survive. You know what I mean? So the work is great, but there'll always be another job. But I really, I fell in love with the show, I fell in love with these characters, so that would have broken my heart not knowing where they went. So I'm really pleased with that.
You're going to be around for a while.
I hope so. Yeah, I think there's a lot in it to plumb.
Is there anything particularly challenging about the first season, filming the first season?
You know what? Lying in bed for long periods of time, although it sounds like a dream gig, not so much. Find a way to just lie there. No, but again, I think the biggest challenge for me was to kind of find the physicality of this guy and not having a lot of. We rely a lot on words as actors, right? And especially in television, there's not a lot of patience and there's not a lot of room for slower developing or quiet performances these days. I think there was more in the past. I think our attention span is getting shorter and shorter. So I think that was a big challenge, was to not have my words.
But it makes an audience watch the show. Because I watch a lot of TV, but I'm always doing something else. But the show doesn't speak. I have to.
It's compelling.
Look.
It's compelling, isn't it?
I have to see what's going on.
Yeah, I'm like that as when I watch television, particularly when I go to the theater. I know what the words are. And when I'm watching theater, I'm watching away from the action all the time. I'm watching away from the dialogue. I want to see where it's landing on people, and I want to see what, silence is so compelling. It's so compelling, silence. I remember I did a play years ago called The Caretaker. It's a interplay. And I played a schizophrenic brother who hardly says anything. But he's on stage all the time, and he moves very slowly. And the comments I got most often was like, we couldn't take our eyes off him. And you were the most dangerous person, the dangerous character on stage, even though he was very light. He just never said anything.
Ernie Kovac did a whole episode of his show in the early 60s.
Really?
Completely, no sound.
Yeah.
You had to watch.
Yeah, it's really compelling. And it's challenging to trust that, I guess, is what I think the challenge is to trust that holds and that that's true. And I wish we had kind of more of that, because everything's so quick these days. Yeah.
Being trying to watch it more often, and I had a reason, and it wasn't telling me what was going on at the same time I was listening.
Right. Yeah.
I know you said you live tweet the episodes. What's it been like interacting with the fans live right then and there?
It can be overwhelming in the moment, So that's why I started only doing it on because I'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about because I'm not watching anymore. And I've lost track. Like when I was watching, I didn't know kind of what happened exactly in each episode because we block shoot and which is shooting like 2 episodes at a time. So we're flipping between episodes in a day. So you lose track of what. No, but it was amazing. Just egoically, it's great to get instant gratification, but not only in that kind of that way that I think we have to temper as performers, because it's a weird world. But I've come from a theater background as well, where you get immediate feedback during the performance, right? And even though this isn't exactly during the performance, informing the performance, you get immediate feedback all of a sudden. You're watching the Twitter feed, something happens, and I'm like, spoiler alert, West Coast, everyone on the West Coast, stay away from Twitter. And it's a very new experience for me. Like I'm not, up until January, I wasn't very Twitter literate, and I have become, and the fans of this show are really, and of sci-fi in general, I think, are really generous, are really loyal, and there's a lot of really deep artists out there. Like some of the fan art that has come through that people have sent me is amazing. I'm like, these people should be having shows, and so it's shown me there's a lot of talent out there that hasn't been tapped that people don't necessarily get a chance to see. And we are starting to see that more and more. I mean, with things like America's Got Talent and these, there's a reality. I'm not going to get into my views on reality television, but there are some elements of kind of these competition shows and talent shows that are really fantastic in kind of democratizing the talent that's out there. The people who would never have a chance to be seen or have a shot they get it. They get to have their moment, at least, get up there that one time and do their thing. I think that's great, and that's kind of part of our digital age and our for a lot of it's. Again, I'm not going to get into it. A lot of the downfalls, sort of, for me, about social media and that, and the immediate kind of access to everything. There's a lot of beauty to it. There's a lot of possible connection that it allows us, which is amazing. I think it also kind of waters down the quality of our connection as well. But there's a lot of good and a lot of beauty to be found. And there's a lot of talent out there. There's a lot of beautiful artists floating around this planet that maybe get a chance to be seen, and actually finish their communication loop in their art.
What's it been like coming here and interacting here with the fans? Is your first time here, or you've been here before?
First time in San Diego.
Oh, wow.
I've done a couple of fan expos up in Canada because I also do a lot of work in video games. So I've gone for Assassin's Creed and stuff a couple of years ago, and it's amazing. what I love about these cons, I'm sure it's the same here, all the cosplayers, right?
Oh my gosh.
Like, you know, they're Transformers and they're like Halo 3, it's really aggressive with big guns, then you'll brush by them and they're like, oh, sorry. They're so gentle, they're really beautiful, gentle people, they're really aggressive looking. I love that.
Yesterday there was a cute little boy with his dragon, like kind your dragon, and the person was dressed up
is
as
it?
totally
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, you know? And it's another way that people get to express their creative expression, right? And this is it. This is the avenue for that.
Have you walked on the floor?
I haven't been on the floor yet. Yeah, we do our panel and then I'm gonna run out there and check it all out. Sure.
Sounds fun.
If you could cosplay, what would you cosplay?
I don't know. Somebody asked me that and I evaded the question. I talked about something else. Yeah, because I'm not like an aficionado of. I'd probably cosplay like Nigel Tufnell or something from Spinal Tap. I guess that would be it. Nigel Tufnell.